Hey, what's up everyone, I'm Andrew, and in this video we're gonna repair and back in function one of the earliest gaming laptops, the ASUS Republic of Gamers G71G. Well, from the outside the laptop looks okay. The case isn't broken, but has many scratches. The first and the most noticeable problem is coming from the display. The display is working, but has no backlight. So in this case, the problem is coming from the backlights. The other problem is the keyboard. The keyboard is almost totally not functional, except for a few keys. However, I was able to access the BIOS and do some basic checks only. The other problem is coming from the cooling fan. The cooling fan is still working, but it doesn't spin well, and it sounds like a tractor. And also the temperatures are rising very quickly and very high. On the other side, this machine has a pretty interesting specs. The CPU is Intel Core Quad Q9000. The GPU is GTX 260M and RAM is 6GB in total. And I got this laptop without hard disk. And also the battery isn't working really well. Well, let's start and back this old gamer in a function again. And first, I will start with a full teardown. And while teardown, I will tell a few words more about this model. This is one of the earliest models of ASUS Republic of Gamers, released back in 2008 and 2009. The 2008 model is coming with Core 2 Duo CPUs, but in the early 2009, the better model is released, the G71G. This model was shipped with just released Intel Core 2 Quad CPU and with just released GTX 260M with 1GB of video memory. And to top of that, these models have a Full HD display, Dolby Audio, Blu-ray CD-ROM, remote controller, which is for TV and radio, also have a dual disc support and few other additional and dedicated options. So back in 2009, this thing was a real monster. Actually, it was rare to see something like this around, and also it was very expensive. So back then, for something like this, I can only dream of. But now, many years later, finally I got one. So the teardown is complete. I remove as many parts as possible because I'm going to cross over a detail checking and cleaning process. And now let's move to the cleaning process. Here I start with electronics first, and the first is the motherboard. The motherboard is pretty clean considering the age of the laptop, which means somebody cares and maintains this laptop. Also, this motherboard needs to be cleaned very carefully because this is an unusually large motherboard and it will easily bend, which is something that we really don't want to happen. So pressing harder here is a big no-no, and all needs to be done very carefully and very gently. Now, after I clean the motherboard, I move to cleaning the GPU. The GPU has a heatsink from the both sides. Also, due to higher working temperatures, the heatsink can be stick very well. So removing the heatsink needs to be done very carefully. While cleaning the GPU, I notice a trace of flux, which is used when you're going to repair something. So I think somebody reflowed the GPU chip before, but however, everything is working fine now. After I shine up the GPU, I move to basic cleaning to the heatsink. Here I remove the thermal paste that left from the GPU, and I remove the very dry thermal paste from the part where the chipset is. I have done the basic cleaning only because later I will in-depth wash the heatsink and remove all the dust and dirt. Well, now I move to cleaning the cooling fan. Here, first I remove the top metal cover and then I pull up the fan blades. These cooling fan blades can be easily removed, but unfortunately this is not the case with all laptops. To many other laptops, the cooling fan blades are not removable. The reason why this cooling fan sounds like a tractor is the mid-metal axis is a bit dusty and fully dry, so the cooling fan isn't spinning well. Now first, I clean the cooling fan electronics from dust and dirt using a brush and 96% isopropyl alcohol. Then, I wash the cooling fan blades using a soap and warm water, because with washing I will remove all the dust and dirt from all sides around. Now, before I place the fan blades back, first I lubricate the metal axis using a sewing machine oil. But if you don't have this type of oil, you can use a full synthetic car engine oil, which also will do a great job, and it's a very long-term solution. Now, after I finish with the cooling fan, I move to cleaning the rest of the electronics, the cables and the CD-ROM. Well, and all electronics are clean, but now I move to cleaning the case. And here, first I start with cleaning the parts which have some electronics on it, like the top case and later the palm rest. So the top case in general is clean, but again I clean all the dust from the inside and all the dirt which was stick all around the case. Well, now I move to cleaning the case from the outside. So here, first I remove the major dirt that was stick all over the case, and for that I used anti-static glass cleaner but mixed with 96% isopropyl alcohol. Now, after I shine up the case, I cross over a small polishing process, because to remove some scratches. Also, this is a car cosmetic product for shining up and polishing plastic surface. Products for metal surface are not recommended, because they can damage the plastic. Well, now after I finish with the polishing process, some scratches are still visible, but many are gone and the surface is totally smooth. Well, and now I move to the palm rest. So here again I cross over the same process. I clean the entire part from all dust and dirt. I remove the stickers and I cross over one more polishing process. Now, after I shine up the both parts, I move to the washing process. Here, I wash the parts from the case that are without electronics, and also I wash the heatsink. Well, and now everything is ready. But before I start with the assembling process, I bought some parts that we need, like a new display, new keyboard. Actually, the display and the keyboard I used, but in a working and good condition. Just here, I cross over a small cleaning process. I clean the display from some dust and fingerprints, and as well I clean the keyboard. Also, I bought a new battery and some upgrade parts like RAM and 1TB SSD. Unfortunately, the RAM that I got isn't working later due to hardware limitations, so I have to stick to 6GB of RAM, which again isn't bad at all for this build. Well, and now I start with the assembling process. Well, the assembling is finished, but once again I have done a small dusting off and final polish up. After I shine up this laptop for the final time, I move to installing Windows, making the final tests and making some customization because I really love the aesthetics of the product. And after making all these changes, this is the final result. Well, now let's take a closer look. Considering the laptop age, this machine belonged to older models, but it's still keeping pretty well. The Windows 10 is running surprisingly good, and everything is fully functional. Because this is an older hardware, the drivers are a little bit outdated, but all is running pretty well without any problems. So in general, this machine is great for daily basic tasks, like web browsing, working on something, listening to music, watching videos and movies, and etc. Watching higher resolution videos is still possible. 440p is working just well, but a 4K requests a little bit longer loading. In the gaming area, we cannot expect a lot compared with today's standards, but most of the older games are running perfectly fine. So to test this machine, I've tried to play a few games, and first on the list is Crysis 2. When we talk about some older hardware like this one, simply cannot skip the Crysis, because the Crysis was one of the most iconic games that was played on this type of machines. In Crysis 2, I used Full HD resolution and gamer settings. And under the settings, the Crysis 2 is running with about 25 to 30 FPS. While heavy gaming, the temperatures look a little bit high. But actually, this is a very normal with this type of hardware. Plus, this laptop has one cooling fan, which is cooling quad-to-quad CPU and NVIDIA GTX 260M, which is already known for high working temperatures. Well, the next game on the list is Hitman Absolution. This game is released back in 2012 and is being played a lot on some hardware like this one. In this game, I used medium settings and Full HD resolution, and under the settings, the frame rate is between 25 and 40. And the last game on the list is Black Mesa. So this is a newer game with a higher requirements. And here I go with mixed settings, medium to low, and Full HD resolution. And under these settings, the frame rate is between 15 and 30. And considering the age of this hardware, this is not bad at all. Well, and this is all about this early ASUS Republic of Gamers. And I'm very glad because I backed this laptop in a function again. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope this video will give inspiration and ideas to back some tech in a function again. Also, if you want to support my work and my channel, you can press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.